Here on Wham Baam Dashcam, we've shown you over 1,000 dashcam videos sent in by our fans, and we serve up 20 new ones every week. Today we're showcasing some of the craziest clips we've ever featured, so buckle up for Wham Baam Dashcam's Worst Drivers of Maryland, Volume 1. Just Dave was headed home from work when the driver of a pickup truck pulled across his lane, leaving him no opportunity to avoid a collision. Just Dave chose to steer toward the front of the pickup in an effort to avoid injuring the other driver. He turned out to be a 78-year-old man who hadn't looked left before pulling across the road. Just Dave's Hyundai Palisade summoned first responders. Thankfully, there were no serious injuries, but Just Dave's Hyundai was totaled by the collision. He told us he misses it dearly, but he's thankful everyone is okay. Just Dave said, "Tell your viewers to get a dash cam. I used 3 of them in my totaled vehicle, and they made the insurance process painless." He also told us he enjoys the fantastic narration and not having to pause the video to read text descriptions. Thanks, Just Dave. If you agree, we hope you'll subscribe. Ignacio was headed to college and was waiting at a traffic light when he witnessed a T-bone collision in the intersection ahead of him. It's unclear what color the oncoming SUV's light was, but what is clear is that the driver made an unprotected left turn before colliding with the driver that had sped up to get through their own yellow light. The result was the SUV flipping onto its side and coming to rest against a traffic island. Ignacio provided his dashcam footage to the responding police as bystanders ran to help the drivers. That story was long but satisfying. The same can't be said for this one. Yep, that driver just went the wrong way through a red light literally 4 seconds before it turned green. Sadly, they got away with it, but not without David capturing their license plate number for the world to see. Aaron was on his way back to work after lunch when he spotted the driver of a Kia Seltos slowing down for a green light. Watch what happened when they suddenly turned left across 3 lanes. The Kia driver turned into the path of a police SUV, sideswiping it as it was passing at approximately 60 miles per hour. Aaron stopped and checked on the police officer, and thankfully both he and the Kia driver were unhurt. After Aaron provided a witness statement to another police officer, he found out the cop who'd been hit had just finished his training period, and this was his first day on patrol by himself. What a way to kick things off. Ashok was passing traffic on a highway where the speed limit is 55 miles per hour. Out of nowhere, the vehicle in front of him swerved to reveal a car completely stopped in the middle of his lane. Ashok had to swerve into the grass on the shoulder to avoid a collision while also honking his horn. The car's hazard lights were flashing, so we're guessing the driver was having trouble. Even so, always pull off the road if your car begins to have issues. Don't wait for it to stop rolling and end up stuck in the middle of the passing lane like that guy. Luke had been watching a pickup driver ahead of him driving aggressively for a while. After the pickup merged to the right, the driver of a sedan changed lanes without looking or signaling and sideswiped the pickup. The sedan driver slammed on the brakes in the middle of the highway, forcing other drivers to swerve around them. The pickup driver stopped less abruptly while Luke made his way to the inside shoulder. Luke gave his contact info to both drivers so they could reach out for his dashcam footage. Thankfully, nobody appeared to have been injured. Scott was waiting to make a left turn when another driver turned across traffic without waiting for an opening and got T-boned by an oncoming car. The car was spun around by the impact and was nearly pushed into Scott's Prius before rolling forward. Scott pulled over to make sure everyone was okay, and he gave a copy of his dashcam footage to a responding deputy. Scott wanted to shout out his daughter, who was singing "Stressed Out" by 21 Pilots when the collision occurred. Vinny watched an SUV driver pass him in a non-existent lane before merging over at the last second before they would have hit a curb. I bet our fans can guess what kind of car it was.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
Yep, that's a Tesla Model X, and that makes this driver our Tesla behaving badly for the week. Andrew was heading to a grocery store when he witnessed a Toyota Corolla getting Honda bumped. Okay, so that was almost a Honda bump, but not quite. The driver of the Civic barely avoided rear-ending the Corolla as the driver came to a stop for other traffic. Thankfully, no collision occurred. Brian was headed out to look for a job when another driver pulled onto the road in front of him. Even though Brian swerved, he wasn't able to avoid colliding with the Nissan Kicks. Both drivers stopped and waited for the police to arrive. Fixing Brian's Honda Accord will cost $7,000 US. Brian told us our videos inspired him to get a dash cam. If you need a dash cam, check the links in the video description. Uriel was driving his Mercedes-Benz C-Class down a Maryland highway when the driver of a red Dodge Charger wasn't paying attention. Watch what happened when he finally noticed that traffic ahead of him was stopping. The Charger driver swerved abruptly into Uriel's lane, clipping the front of his Mercedes. The impact destroyed Uriel's radiator, totaling the car. The Charger driver was found responsible for the collision, so his insurance provider will be paying Uriel for his wrecked Mercedes. He told us this was his first collision ever. Obviously, nobody enjoys being involved in a vehicle collision, but Uriel told us he's at least excited to be able to send his dashcam footage to Wham Bam. I guess every cloud really does have a silver lining. Nola was going clothes shopping when a Honda Civic full of teenagers turned across her path. Nola slammed on the brakes, barely avoiding hitting the Civic with her Honda CR-V. While Nola was able to come to a complete stop, the Civic driver just sped off. Now that's a close call if we've ever seen one. Curtis sent us this video from when his girlfriend Nikki was headed to work one morning. Just after getting on the main road, she witnessed a Nissan driver pull out into traffic and get T-boned by a car they hadn't seen coming.
Wow.
Both drivers stopped, and Nikki gave her information to the police in case they wanted to see her footage. Amazingly, the cops also witnessed the wreck, which is probably why Curtis and Nikki never did hear back from the police. Lee was driving his Dodge Durango when an oncoming landscaping truck lost its load right in front of him. Lee told us he's thankful there was no damage and that the grass is in fact not greener on the other side. He didn't speak to the other driver, but I imagine he would have just told Lee to sod off. Zaza was driving to see a friend when the traffic in front of her on the highway came to a sudden stop. She had plenty of space to decelerate safely, but the driver following her didn't. When Zaza and the other driver got out to assess the damage, he told her the collision was her fault because she'd slowed down too fast. He refused to provide his insurance information, so she quickly took a picture of his car. It's a good thing she did because he fled before the police had time to respond to the scene. Zaza later found out the reason he wouldn't give her his insurance information. He didn't have any. Thankfully, after she hired a lawyer, her own insurance provider paid for the repairs and her medical bills, as well as for the time she wasn't able to work. She told us she loves the TeslaCam channel and she'd get a Tesla herself if she didn't love her truck so much. Thanks, Zaza. Quincy was on his way home when the driver ahead of him slammed on their brakes for an emergency vehicle. He hit the brakes too, bringing his Volkswagen Jetta to a sudden stop. The driver of a pickup truck pulling a trailer swerved to the right to avoid rear-ending Quincy, driving up onto a traffic island instead. Both drivers then stopped and checked for damage. Thankfully, this close call didn't cause any damage to either vehicle. Quincy wanted to shout out his father, who watches Wham Baam Dashcam and Wham Baam Dashcam with him. This submitter was waiting to turn left when he watched a Corvette get hit by a white vehicle running a red light. The Corvette was making a protected left turn when the white Chevy HHR ran the red light and T-boned it. Our submitter told us he provided copies of his dashcam footage to the Corvette driver and to the police. Carla and her husband were driving when they noticed a Kia Soul driver make a right turn across a lane. Sadly for them, there was a car in that lane, and they pit maneuvered themselves off it. The Kia Soul went spinning off the road into a stop sign while the driver of the other car was able to maintain control and pull over. Carla stopped and thankfully nobody was injured. Carla provided both drivers with copies of her dashcam footage. She wanted to shout out her husband Davis as well as her sister Brittany, who watches our videos with her. Angie was headed home from work when a white SUV went flying past her down the interstate, weaving between her and other vehicles before getting stuck in traffic. After getting trapped behind another SUV and forced to slow down, the other driver made their way across lanes before continuing their reckless journey. Alex was preparing to make a protected left turn when he watched an oncoming dump truck run the light to make an illegal turn, followed by a bus that proceeded straight through the red light. Alex clarified that neither driver should have proceeded, as traffic in that lane is only allowed to go straight and their light was red the entire time. Thankfully, other drivers dodged the black bus and no collisions occurred. Sam captured video of a driver hydroplaning on a wet highway, but they needed more than just a car wash and new tires as a result. The driver of the pickup ahead of Sam lost control before sideswiping an SUV. Incredibly, both drivers were able to avoid colliding with the median barrier. Sam stopped to check on them, and thankfully, nobody was hurt. Pete watched as a typical Hyundai driver, his words, sideswiped an Acura SUV to avoid missing a highway exit. After briefly slowing down, Pete says the Hyundai driver fled the scene. He stopped and shared his dashcam footage with the Acura driver, but sadly, the license plate number can't be read in the video due to low visibility. He told us he was surprised his 4K dashcam didn't capture the plate number. If you want a dashcam that can pick up incredible detail, even at night, check out the models we recommend in the video description. Watch what happened while Jacob was on his way home from getting gas for his Jeep Cherokee. The driver of a Ford Focus nearly pulled out in front of Jacob's SUV. Thankfully, Jacob was able to stop in time to prevent a collision before the Ford driver almost backed into another car. Ari had come to a complete stop for traffic when her Volvo S60 was suddenly rear-ended. Ari told us the driver who hit her was intoxicated, and police arrested him when they responded. The impact totaled her Volvo, and the insurance settlement went completely to paying off the rest of her car loan. She wanted to shout out her fiancé Kevin, as well as his family members Chrissy and Chloe, and her own father Andrew. She told us they've always been there for her. Speaking of dangerous intersections, Jacob was going through a green light when he spotted a Tesla behaving badly.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
Thankfully, after the red Model Y driver ran their red light, Jacob's honking was enough to alert them to their error. When both drivers slammed on their brakes, a collision was avoided before they both drove away.
Wham, bam, we got a Patreon man. Please support the show.